Welcome back to Major Decisions. I'm Ashlynn Wyman, and today I have a new special guest. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and say what major we're going to be talking about today?
Yeah, so my name is Kelsey Callahan, and I am a nursing major at SEMO. So we're going to be talking about nursing majors.
Yay! So Kelsey, I've heard that SEMO has a rock star nursing program. I know I've heard wonderful, wonderful things about it. So is that kind of what made you want to come to SEMO, or was that just an added bonus?
Yes. So the main reason why I even came to look at SEMO was because of the awesome reputation that the SEMO nursing program has. And then everything else about the campus I loved. So that was the added bonus, was everything else about SEMO.
Gotcha. Yeah. Did you always know that you wanted to be a nurse, or like how did you kind of go about that?
Yeah, I kind of have always known I wanted to be a nurse. I don't really have any nurses in my family, but I've always been really interested in the healthcare field. And I did some shadowing of some nurses whenever I was in high school. And so that kind of solidified that I wanted to be a nurse. And so, yeah, I just right from the get-go going into college, I knew I wanted to be a nurse.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what was like the whole preparation to get into the nursing program? What did the classes before the nursing program look like? What were the tests that you had to do to get into the nursing program? What's your story?
Okay, so whenever you declare your major at SEMO, you are considered a pre-nursing student from the beginning. And so pre-nursing just involves some basic gen ed classes, but along with some other sciences like anatomy 1 and 2, microorganisms of the human body, some psychology courses, nutrition, and just a bunch of other courses that really prepare you for the nursing program. It really gets your critical thinking skills upped and kind of ready to go to get into the program. And the process of getting into the program involves different components. So you have to take the HESI A2 exam, which is basically an entrance level exam over all of the courses that you take in pre-nursing. You get tested over a lot of different courses such as anatomy, chemistry, biology, grammar, vocabulary, all different kinds of things. And they also test your critical thinking, which is a separate test that you kind of can't really prepare for. And then a part of that process of your application, of course, your GPA is also a part of that as well. And so to kind of prepare for the HESI exam, I recommend just studying. There is some great resources out there from HESI themselves. They make books, and then you can just honestly go on Amazon and find a bunch of different things, a bunch of things that you can find to study. What I used to prepare for the HESI was I got a book off of Amazon that HESI created, and I studied that thing through and through. And then, yeah, I just applied.
Yeah. We kind of talked about it, how you said it's very selective program, it's very hard to get into. Is that like a nerve-wracking process, and then like once you finally get in, what's your first semester looking like?
Yeah, so they only take 35 people. Yes, it's very nerve-wracking. It feels like it's one of the most important tests you've ever taken in your entire life just to get into the program. But just getting into the program is kind of just the first part of it, because the first semester is, it's kind of just laying the foundation of nursing. Everything is so brand new to you. And a lot of the classes are very, very difficult. And I will say that, the first semester of the nursing program, at least for me, was definitely the hardest. And, because you can't really build upon your nursing skills and your nursing knowledge without that foundation. And so, kind of getting that down is really important. And that's a very big studying semester. I felt like I was studying every single day the first semester of nursing school.
Do you think that it kind of taught you, did you have like an idea of how to study? Like I am terrible at studying. I don't know what works best for me. Did you quickly figure it out, or did you already know going into it?
I would not say that I figured that out very quickly. I think that's another reason what makes it so difficult too. It's because it feels like the pre-nursing program on steroids. It is the best way that I can describe the first semester of nursing school. I really didn't know how to prepare from the very beginning. It was kind of like no other classes I have ever taken before. I will say that I got the hang of it by the end of first semester. Just kind of how to study. You kind of have to learn your teachers, and you have to learn how they test you. And Nursing questions are kind of like no other test that you've ever taken before. Every answer is correct. Every answer that you take is correct, but only one of them is the most correct. And it's very strange. And it does take a while to navigate that. So I would definitely say that that's another reason why it is so difficult.
Yeah. So does it get better from there? Or
Yes.
what does each kind of semester after that what's the main point of each semester after that?
Yeah. So like I said, the first semester is kind of building that foundations of nursing. You're taking classes such as pathophysiology, which is just learning about all the different kinds of diseases that you'll take care of in nursing. You have foundations in nursing, which is where you learn all the different kinds of nursing skills, like how to put in a Foley catheter, how to change a wound dressing, how to take care of a tracheostomy tube, all these different things. There's also an assessment, and nurses have to do assessments every single day of their work life.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, every single shift, every patient gets a new assessment, and that's a constant thing in nursing. So that's a very important foundational class. And then you're also in pharmacology, which is learning medications. And that's the only medication class that you will be in nursing. So that pharmacology class you will take with you. You'll take all of those skills the whole way through nursing school. Yeah. And so then the second semester, you kind of build just a little bit more. You kind of build the first level of your nursing career. You are in Adult Health 1, which is kind of just like a medical surgical class. It's just general medical concepts. It's diseases and pharmacology and kind of the foundations class where you do the skills. It's everything all in one class.
Okay.
And then you kind of get into a little bit more specialties in second and third semester. So you take maternal newborn courses, you take psychiatric courses, mental health. And then you move up to an adult health 2, and you also take research and pediatrics, critical care, and gerontology, which is the elderly.
Gotcha.
So, and then fourth semester, fourth semester, you take nursing management course called Transitions. And then you're also in community health nursing, and then NCLEX prep and practicum. And practicum is basically just a course where you're out in the field, you have a nurse preceptor, and you basically work as a nurse. So,
okay. So even after you graduate, you have your degree in nursing, but you aren't like a registered nurse, correct? What is that process of getting licensed?
Right. So you have to take the NCLEX, which is the State Board of Nursing. That is their licensure exam. That allows you to legally practice, allows you to legally take care of patients. And that is taken beyond graduation, just like you said, probably like a month or so after graduation. So it's more studying after you graduate, which is so great. Yes. But that's basically what they decide, the State Board of Nursing. They give you that test just to make sure you're not going to kill someone. just to put it lightly. I mean, they need to make sure that you actually retained what you learned in nursing school, and that you're going to be able to make those critical decisions and think on your toes, and be able to care for their patients with quality, and be able to just give the best nursing care that you can from what you have learned. And they make sure that, you're going to be able to take care of those patients.
So since you're with a really small class size and you have all of the same teachers, what is like the SEMO nursing culture around one another?
Yes. So because there's only 35 people, you really do grow close with your class. You're with the same 35 people for 2 years. And, being a nursing major is really not like being any other major. You have different levels of stress. You go through different things together, and you just really lean on each other a lot to help you out and to stay organized. And your nursing student friends really do become friends that you'll have for a lifetime. Like, I am getting married in July, and I have some people in my nursing program that are going to be invited to my wedding. Like, and I would not have known them otherwise. And so I'm very thankful. And the nursing professors are also really great. They have been nurses themselves and they get it. They understand. They've been in the stress themselves, and they really do want to see us be successful. They want to see us learn the material. They want us to do well on the NCLEX, and they want us to see our dreams come true because they understand the passion of a nurse. And I think that they do a really good job of just caring for us well and making sure that we are learning the information.
Not just memorizing, actually being able to put it into practice.
Exactly.
Love that. What has been your favorite class and what has been your hardest class?
My favorite class is really easy. My favorite class was definitely maternal newborn nursing. That's because I would love to be an obstetrics nurse. I want to be labor and delivery. And I just loved learning just about that whole labor and delivery process and how to care for the laboring mother, and also being able to care for the newborn and things like that. So it's a specialty class, but I loved that class. It was my favorite. Every single day I loved being in lecture. And Dr. Burke is who teaches that class, and she's amazing. She's very enthusiastic about her class. And she is just very easy to work with too. She's very caring and understanding of her students. So she also made it amazing as well. And I definitely think that the hardest class was pharmacology. That's in the first semester, and that's the class with all of, you learn all of the different medications. And I think it's so hard just because there's so many medications out in the world and they change all the time. And each medication, I don't know if you knew this, has 2 names. So
I did not.
So you have to learn both names of the medication. You have to learn the mechanism of action of the medication, how it affects the patient. Signs and symptoms, things to look out for, what can go wrong and what they're supposed to do, all different kinds of things. And they all have different manufacturers, and it's just a very difficult class because it's very content heavy.
Gotcha.
But it's worth it to know, because you have to know those things if you're going to be giving your patient those medications. You want to know what they're doing. You want to know what you need to be seeing in your patient. So it also just has a lot of pressure with it as well. Yeah. And new medications are being made every day. So it's just an ongoing class.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you said you want to be a labor and delivery nurse. Yes. What are like the different kinds of, areas that you can go to whenever you're a nurse?
Yeah, there's so many opportunities that you can be as a nurse. So kind of in the acute care hospital setting, you can be a labor and delivery nurse. You can be a neuro nurse, oncology. There's a medical unit, surgical. You can be in the ICU. You can be in the ER. And then you can also do things in outpatient care, such as wound care. You can work in a clinic. You can do pediatrics, and nurses, they don't even have to be clinical nurses either. Like those were all clinicals. But you can do other nursing opportunities, such as working in education and HR departments of hospitals, and things like that. You can do home health. You can go to patients' homes and help them with their healthcare at home. And you can also be a community health nurse, where you go out in the community and you put on, community health fairs, and just be out and just give care to the rest of the community that you're in as well. You can go all over the place with it.
What kind of experience have you gotten through the nursing program at SEMO?
Like clinical wise?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So I have gotten a ton of experience in for clinicals in the SEMO's nursing program. For almost every class, there is a clinical for it. So like I said, with the maternal newborn course and adult health and critical care, I was able to go to the hospitals and be on those floors that correlates with the class that you're in. So every lecture course has a clinical course with it as well. Okay. So you're not only sitting in class and reading the book and learning about those things, you actually get to go out and experience them as well and be hands-on. And so those kinds of courses, I've been able to in just about every class, I've been able to actually get hands-on. COVID brought some challenges with that as well. But on the flip side of that, was able to experience those things virtually, and I still was able to put myself in the scenarios.
I bet that also helps you kind of solidify what area you want to go into. You're getting a taste of everything, and just gives you a little bit more clarity on where you want to be, right?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you can think all day long that you want to be a NICU nurse. You know, the neonatal ICU is what NICU stands for, and you can go up there and you love babies, and you want to be a NICU nurse all day long just because you love kids, and then you get up there and you see the tubes and you see the scary, and you touch the little baby and they're so fragile, and you're just like, nope, not today. That's not what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
So that was an experience I had.
Do you think that like people can kind of get over that ick or that like first instinct of like, oh my goodness, I don't know what I'm doing, or oh my goodness, there's so many things at me at once when you see all the tubes and you see all the medication and the IVs? Like, is that like going to be a shock that people can get over because they want to be a nurse, or is that like something hard?
I definitely think that it is something that people can get over. It definitely is a scary thing in the very beginning. It's like, wow, I've been dreaming about this my whole life, or this is something that I think I might want to do. I don't really know until I see it, kind of thing. But it honestly is more natural than you think. Like you kind of get in that setting, and it can come over time to just get comfortable with the tubes and the wires and all of those things. But if it comes naturally to you, then I think it just kind of solidifies the calling of being a nurse too.
Yeah.
So
what kind of experience have you gotten over the years, that you're gonna be able to put on your resume, that you've gotten actual, like real life experience outside of the classroom?
Yeah. So I highly recommend getting experience in the hospital before you get into the nursing program, or even during. Your clinicals, they're also a class, and you can't really be there for 12 hours. So you don't really get the full 12-hour shift experience in your clinicals. You definitely get the experience, but I just think all the more you get a lot more experience working in the hospital. So what I did was I worked as a patient care technician in the hospital here in Cape on the float team. And it was some of the most amazing experience. I got to learn, how to interact with patients. It's just some basic care needs, such as, taking a bath, taking a shower, recording intake and output of the patients, and taking their vital signs, and all those different things. Like the basic care is what you'll get by being a patient care technician. And it sets you up very well for the nursing program, I think. Any nursing program, really. So highly recommend being a patient care technician. And then some other opportunities that nursing students get in hospitals is after you pass certain courses in the nursing program, you develop certain skills that you can take to the hospitals for a job called a nurse extern. It's basically being an intern nurse, but you get paid for it.
Okay.
So you get to work in the hospital on certain floors, and you are paired with a nurse preceptor, and she basically shows you the ropes, and you get to practice that hands-on clinical skills through being a nurse extern. So it's just a little bit up there than being a tech. But I have also done that, and I highly recommend the most experience I have ever gotten, I think, is being a nurse extern. Yeah. And it's definitely doable while also being in the nursing program as well, because everything applies. Yeah. Every time I go into work as a nurse extern, it's basically, I feel like I'm studying all day long, because but it's an enjoyable study. Like I actually get to do the hands-on, the things that I've learned in class, I get to apply. Like it's another clinical, but you get paid for it, and it's great. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it sounds like the same idea of this externship is like whenever you graduate, you're going to be with a preceptor for a little bit. So you're really getting kind of like that experience for your NCLEX as well while being an externship, right?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So we had COVID challenges, and we know that our healthcare workers are our heroes, but like, what does it mean to you now being on in the nitty gritty of this pandemic? Does it make you like love nursing that much more? And does it emphasize, the need for nurses, or, what do you think about it?
Yes, to basically everything you just said. COVID brought so many challenges, especially to us nursing students, that, may have made things a little less enjoyable, because we didn't get to be as hands-on. But I think from my personal experience, it has grown my heart all the more just for nursing. Just seeing the need and wanting to meet it so bad, but I'm not a nurse yet.
Yeah.
So that was kind of its own thing. But I over the summer when I was working as a patient care technician, I was actually in the ICU taking care of COVID patients. And I saw patients on the ventilators and I saw them and while they were struggling, and it just made me want to do everything that I could for them. So from my experience, it just made me want to be a nurse even more. And it made everything worth it. It's kind of a pain having to do things virtually or, be on Zoom for a few more hours than you expected, because nobody really expected it. But I think, seeing the patients in the states that they were in, and it just made it worth it because I was just like, what, I got to get out here. I got to help. Because of all that. So
what are some words of encouragement that you could say to people who are thinking about going to be a nurse or like going through the nursing program? What do you want to say to them?
You got it.
Keep
pushing. If you're somebody who wants to be a nurse and, you're really scared because you've heard of how hard it is, you've heard how challenging it is, or you just don't really know because COVID is so iffy, just really kind of examine your heart behind wanting to be a nurse and examine, is this really worth it? Is it really what I want to do? And if it is something that you want to do, I think you should do everything in your power to become a nurse, whether it's on SEMO's campus or you have to go somewhere else. If you want to be a nurse, we need nurses everywhere. And I think that it takes a special kind of person to be a nurse. And so if you have that want and you want to help people in that way, I say do everything that you can to get to that point. So
thank you, Kelsey, for joining us today and giving us some really vital information about the nursing program. And I hope this was super beneficial to all of you listeners. Kelsey, if people want to reach out to you about questions that they have about the nursing program, can they do that? Where can they find you at?
Yeah, you guys can definitely hit me up if you have any questions. My Instagram name is Kelsey Callahan, KELSCALLAHAN, if you have any questions.
Perfect. Thank you all for joining us today. And I will see you soon on Major Decisions. See ya.
Bye.